Jenna Smith is going to speak today. Now let me tell you a little bit about Jenna. I had to pull it up on my phone because, you know, half the time my phone doesn't want to do right. But if you didn't get this text message from Brian, then you need to hear this. Jenna Smith is the always smiling, happy lady greeting all comers at Carmel's Temple's Sunday morning service. And also, when we had the Wednesday night service, she was right there in the middle, extending love in the healing circle. Jenna is quick to thank her loving parents for instilling the work ethic and great values that motivate her today. Those values have enabled her to lead a rewarding personal and professional life, and with a burning desire to help provide a better, more loving life experience for mankind. Jenna is an ordained minister, a licensed Texas realtor, and a licensed cosmetologist, and has held that state license for over 40 years. It is said, after 40 years, she knows how to cut hair. As an ordained priest, she co-founded the Divine Way of Life Church. As a Reiki master, Jenna integrates those healing techniques along with the traditional medical procedures. You know, with a bio like that, we are lucky to be in the presence when this presentation is going to be given today by Reverend Jenna Smith, and she has her title, It's All About God. Let's welcome Jenna.
I was just thinking, and in the middle of all that, I decided I was going to nursing school because as a kid, anytime anybody ever asked me, what are you going to be when you grow up? You know how adults will do that to kids? Yeah. And I used to say, oh, I'm going to be a nurse. I had no clue what nurses do. And you know what? In my older age, I decided this is something I would want to do still. So I went back to school, and you know, my algebra, my geometry, all those subjects were so far removed from my brain, they were gone. I had to go in there and do all that, and I was still running a salon that I had for 26 years, and then finally I thought, okay, this is too much responsibility, I'm gonna get a little smaller here. But I went to school and I was running that salon and going to school and staying up all night doing those geometries and all those ologies, and I loved it. All the sciences with that end in ology, microbiology, just all kinds of them. And when I finally got accepted into the nursing program, which was, as soon as I could, I was accepted, and my heart broke. I don't know what happened. I couldn't do it. I would cry. My heart would cry out. And I thought, after about a half a semester of this, I thought, I can't do this. I can't do this. And I just turned around and went back to what I'd been doing, hair and doing realty work. So, well, that's a bit much, So I have a riddle for you to start with. What is it that has these benefits? Okay, lowers your blood pressure, strengthens the immune system, protects against cardiac disease, and is great for the circulatory system. Meditation, obviously, yes. Well, there's one that the people out in the world that don't come to Carmel recognize, or maybe not. But this is a more universal thing. Well, meditation is so beautifully encompassing. It's awesome. Anybody want to take a hint? Just besides meditation, yes, that does that.
Prayers.
Prayer is a good one.
Massage.
This was on the news. The word is hope. And you know, to me, I used to think that, not before this, I changed my mind, you know, prior to this that I saw the other day. But I used to think that hope was kind of useless. You know, I mean, you can hope all day, but really when you think about it, a hope, to some people, it's the only thing they have. Yes.
In Spanish, there's a saying that is esperanza es la última cosa que se va. Hope is the last thing to leave.
There you go. And I've known people that's all they had was hope. And they've come out. So, today I'm going to talk about God. It's all about God. You know, you've heard me say tons and tons of times, those that know me, it's all about me. It's all about me. And I don't mean that in a selfish way, because it really is about me. Once I get it, here and here, it's all about you then. It's all about everyone. But if I don't realize that first, I'm in a heap of trouble. So today, we're going to talk about what God is. And I brought this book with me. It's called The Law of Life, and it's been written by masters. God is a hierarchy, okay? And I'm going to move on to tell you, but here, I know it's very small, okay? There are bigger charts, but God is up here, and there are more of these. And as these are the light beings, these right here are the masters and the chakras, or the light rays that they are responsible for. And it's all a hierarchy. No one, not even God, does it all by himself, okay? So, that being said, God is spirit in space. We cannot see, touch, smell, hear God, and yet it is a force that together, universally, you can see, taste, smell, hear, see God. Because as this lovely woman taught me, Victoria Fraser, when I see you, I see me in another form. And when I learned that, I learned it in the heart of my hearts. I'm telling you, I've never forgotten it because it hit home. So, God is a force. God is energy. God is constantly vibrating because it is a light substance that it's electronic, and that comes into our heart the day we're born. There comes a light, comes in through the top of our head, stops somewhere in the back of the neck, continues to the heart, and that's where it sets for the rest of your life, giving you who you are. And that is the part of God. God is holy. God is cut off, sacred, purity, selfless, yet radiates all over into each one of us, into everything that has life, because God is life. Abundant, infinite love and life. God has no beginning and no end, yet it is eternal. Infinite eternity. Total knowledge. God is total knowledge. It takes the entire universe and other universes together to know God through expression. All of us are expressions of God. Each animal is an expression of God. Each plant that's out there is an expression of God. And I know this because Brian thinks I'm crazy sometimes, because I talk to my plants. I even give them a kiss sometimes when they're so beautiful. And they're performing for me. I feel like it's a play that they're doing for me. And of course, I treat them as best I can also. And then I have my little birds outside that I feed, and I love watching them. And I've seen some of the most beautiful pieces of God out there, just munching away on the seeds I provide for them. And then I got crazy here not too long ago, and I thought, I used to have a parrot, a talking parrot, that he did everything but dance. I promise you. He spoke, he sang, he knew so many sentences, and he would speak them, and he would greet people. He would say goodbye to people. He would ask me if I was drinking a cup of coffee, if I was washing dishes. And unfortunately, one day I had him outside, and my daughter came in. She was really little. She used to ride her tricycle with this parrot on her handlebars around the neighborhood. So everybody knew him. But one day I had him outside on this pedestal that my son had made for me. And the trees were kind of low. And she opened the door, and she opened the door to come out looking for me. And his name was Colonel Bird. Anyway, he got startled and went up in the tree. And it doesn't take much, a flap or two, and he was gone. And I think somebody got him. I'm pretty sure they did, because I had questions of people asking, and because I put things and ads in the paper, signs all over, a reward, and no Colonel Bird ever returned to me. So God bless you wherever you are, because they have a long life. So anyhow, but recently I got to thinking, I would love to have another bird. Well, guess what? I started out with one little parakeet. I thought, oh, they're so cute. So I went and bought one, and I wasn't even shopping for one, but I thought, this is the day. I went to go buy some dog food at a feed store, and they had just brought these parakeets out. I thought, oh my goodness. I was getting in the car. I told Brian, I'll be right back. I'm going back in. Well, I ended up bringing one little green one home. And then I thought, he's lonely. So the next day, I went and bought another one at PetSmart. And then my daughter, I told her, I said, guess what I've got? I got two little birds. And she says, Mom, I have a friend that would give away 2 cages, all their toys, and 2 birds to go with it. And I thought, oh, I wish I'd have known this before I went through all this. But I ended up getting me all those birds, and now I got 4 little tweeters just loving me, and I'm loving them. And I sing to them, they twitter back to me, and we're having a really good time. And besides that, we have a cat and a dog. So I have my work cut out for me every morning when I get up. But anyway, God is an expression in everything that has life. And definitely those items, my plants, your animals, everything has life and love. Love is what brought them into this world. Love, because God is love. And all these things that I've described start out with that electronic substance that God is, and it makes up a bright, bright, bright light. And that light of God is always victorious. The light of God is always victorious. And I've learned so much from, during this pandemic, that we couldn't have services for quite a long time. Well, I'm just a busybody, I guess. I needed something else to do instead of just relaxing. So I started taking all these classes and, getting further out of myself, besides the doing the Bruno thing online. And I joined the Theosophical Society. And then I joined the Ascended Masters, which I do every Saturday with them. But in my class, I learned that we're studying at the feet of this little book that Jiddu Krishnamurti wrote. He was 12 years old, and they call him an Alcyon because I didn't know what an Alcyon was. I thought, what's he talking about, an Alcyon? Well, I looked it up, and what it is, it's an accumulation of many lifetimes of knowledge that keeps accumulating. And you become an Alcyon because you've got all this accumulated stuff. So when he was 12 years old, he came upon this, William Leadbeater was his name. And he noticed that this kid had a huge aura about him. And he told Annie Besant, she is one of the beginners of the Theosophical Society from way back when, and he told her, this child is very special. And she says, how do you know that? And because I can see his aura, it's huge. And after some questions were answered or asked, is he going to be bigger than, and this question was given to somebody else, bigger than any Annie Besant? And they said, yes, bigger than her. And she's pretty big. I mean, I don't mean in size, but I mean in spirit, in knowledge, in connection to God. She knew who she was, and so did this Krishnamurti, and he put this book out. So anyhow, God is an exaggerated version of myself as well as you. And united with this whole universe, we express God differently. And wouldn't it be boring if we didn't? I mean, if we all did the same thing, the same time, ate the same thing, talked the same way, heaven only knows I couldn't laugh at Brian like I do because of his accent. He says that he was put on this earth to entertain me. He does make me laugh all the time. Thank you, baby. So God is essentially in control. Through each one is in control depending on how I express God. So I wanted to tell you about the hierarchy that I told you about in this book. That God, it takes a lot to make up God. I mean, it takes a lot to express God. And I wanted to read to you about, this is some of the, El Moria is an ascended master, and they say, enfold me now in your blue flame of love, and let me feel your strength and power to receive the God ideas and bring them into manifestation for the blessing of my fellow man. It's not just about me, like I say, it's all about me. It is all about me letting all my fellow man know. Help me to say to my beloved God presence, not my will, but thine be done. Do you know how hard it is? I mean, when you take this seriously and you want someone else to help you out, you're asking God for help, and you can hardly say, make it your will, just leave me out of it, because you still, and even after we give it to God, we go back and we meddle with it. I wonder what God's doing. How come he hasn't given me whatever I needed? He hasn't given me what I asked him for. What's going on? And we're checking, we're pecking, we're like a bunch of chickens. We're just a mess until we say in our hearts, not my will, but your will be done. And it goes on. This is one of the decrees that we do, okay? Help me feel and understand your illumined obedience to that will, your spiritual humility before the love of God, and your respect for God and his representatives, and the presence of God with each human heart. And then, Sarah, I didn't know this, but I was complimented. She told you all one time, this woman's an Amazon. And I've always thought Amazon was a big monstrous something or other. But these are one of in the hierarchy of God, okay? And this is, and I always, like Wonder Woman and Hercules and all these,
goddess.
They're figures that Marvel company took and made heroes. They're Marvel heroes now, okay? These are they're ascended masters in the hierarchy of God who runs this universe, okay? And especially to our earth. And this is Hercules and Holy Amazon. I thought, oh my God, Sarah gave me a compliment. I am the Holy Amazon. Well, I don't know about the holy, but I'm an Amazon. It said, and he is speaking to us. Are you content with what you are? What you manifest today? Are you content with half a loaf when you could have a whole loaf? Are you content to live in limitations and bodies of decay? Because we all know that we do not live forever. So at some point we will end. And I thought Donald was going to steal my show today because he started talking about God and the infinity of him and the love and the light. And I'm going, okay, Donald, I didn't want to come over here and get the book and get him out of the way, but he was right on point. And sometimes that is the way it is. Somebody starts something and it's like it's already vibrating in the air. It's already in motion. So he goes on to say, it is what you will that you manifest. Oh, beloved students of light, upon your forehead is the flame of Hercules. Remember each morning and acknowledge it before you proceed into the activities of your outer world, and will to become that which God intends. Remembering Hercules as you move forward, please do not accept such limitation in your individual selves when you know it only requires the exercises of the will within you, within me, within each one of us to draw forth all that we require. Not my will, but thine be done. So, I'm really not going to speak that long today. I know I chattered a lot, but so that is God. All of us put together, everything that has life, that has any kind of vibration, is God. And in this little story that I started to tell you about studying with Theosophical Society, we're studying this book at the feet of the Master. The Master in this case, I believe, is Cthulhu or Maitreya. Anyway, I need to get that straight, don't I, as a student? Anyway, the point I want to make is that it was this past Tuesday night in class, people asked different questions, and the solution was kind of there, because God is constant evolution. Always, 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 never ending evolution. Always ascending, ascending, ascending. Even the ascended masters have not ascended to as high as they can and are consistently. The more good you do, the more good you have. The more. It's never ending. It's boundless in abundance. So, it's ever changing, seeking harmony and further ascension. And we, in our little minds, thinking that all we have to do here to become an ascended, and it is, to become an ascended master is to master the physical senses. Our sight, our hearing, what we like to do, we need to master that for us to get off this wheel of karma that gives us lifetime after lifetime of doing the same thing over and over again until we finally get it. And I'm here, just like all of us here. It came to my mind one day, why didn't I start when I was born? Well, it kind of, in a way, I was. I came into a family that was all about going to church every single Sunday, every single Wednesday night. Teen classes, blah, blah, blah. They made sure that I was in it all the time. So through my parents. And lots of times it was like, oh, it's so boring. But we did it. And I'm not regretful, not even a tiny, no, there is no regret. Because it led me to where I am now. And, one thing led to another. I've been all kinds of religions. And now I'm no religion. Guess where that brought me? It brought me to no religion. It brought me to Carmel Temple, where you are free to express yourself in a safe manner. So, the questions, getting back to my class at the feet of the Master, a question was asked, shall we do this or shall we do that? And he said in class, since God is all about evolution, do something. It doesn't matter really what you do. And I'm sure you guys have heard, you guys, we're really getting casual here, aren't we? I'm sure you all, Carmelites, have heard someone say, do something even if it's wrong. Have you heard, how many have heard that? Yeah. And why do you suppose they say that? Why do you suppose, Julia, you raised your hand. Why do you suppose someone would say, do something, even if it's wrong? Just so you can be acting?
Yeah, when you have to make a decision, you don't know what to do sometimes, and they'll just say, well, just do something, like they're, frustrated or want to see you act on it.
Well, there is something to this, according to my instructor. And he said, it doesn't matter. It does not matter what you do, because it is all about, you're going to find out whether you did the right thing or you're going to find out that you did the wrong thing. Both of those things are going to teach you something, right? If you did something wrong because, you thought that was the right thing to do, and then something comes up, and then you think, wow, I shouldn't have done that. Well, guess what? Colonel Sanders had 100 and some ways of how not to do his fried chicken, right? Because he kept doing things. He didn't stay in one spot. He wanted to manifest what I was just talking about here. So from that, I thought, okay, so it really doesn't matter, because the lesson is going to move us forward anyway. And if it's really all about evolution and ascension, it doesn't matter what we do. We can do anything. And it'll be the right thing at that time until it's not. Okay, so the only thing we have to do is be discerning. When you're looking at something, go for, and this is what Donald, I thought he's stealing my message. Go think about what the real and what the unreal is, and manifest toward that which is real. The unreal is our physical bodies. We're going to die someday, and the houses that we live in will, hundreds of years from now maybe will be nothing. There will be nothing. There will be dirt again, because everything always returns to the harmonious thing that it was in the beginning. And so that's what we should invest in the real, the things that are of the heart of God. So, with all the stuff that, we've been talking about, shall we rebuild? Shall we fix the temple? What are we going to do? And I thought, does it really matter? We have a structure out there. And if Nino can do everything he says he can do, I'm going, I like it. Sounds good to me. So, it won't be a new building, but have you ever had a place remodeled and you feel the new? It feels wonderful. We've already got a structure out there, so I'm not saying that's what we should do. I'm just saying I'm open because I want to ascend. And I want to have that evolution for Carmel Temple, not for Jenna. It's not about Jenna, it's about God. So, we know what will come after we have made the changes. And if in the middle of this, say we decide to go ahead and refurbish the place, and we find something doesn't fit, so we change it. God is all about change. It's constant pulsation and radiation. That is never changing. But the way we fix our house, the way we fix Carmel Temple, the color of carpet we choose, that is nonsense. It almost is nonsense when you come to realize what God really is, the real, and divide that from the unreal, or separate it from the unreal, and let's make a beautiful choice. So it doesn't matter what we do. There's a lesson in everything. And it's about the lesson and the ascension. So we do not want to restrict the growth and the ascension and the evolution that God is, because it's all about God. You know what I've learned from not just from today, but I have learned that seeking a spiritually, coming to Carmel Temple and seeking the spirituality that I really want for myself and for Carmel Temple also, for all Carmelites, is that I want the will of God to happen. And if I don't get out of my own way, the will of God will never happen. And I'm going to hit and miss and hit and miss. So I have decided that seeking spirituality is not for the weak. You have to be pretty courageous and give your will up to God. And with that, I thank you for listening to me today. I hope that you will be encouraged to seek your own ascension, your evolution. Thank you.